Hello everybody and welcome back to the pre-production meeting. I am your co-host Josh and I am the only host on today's episode of the podcast. This is episode 56. This is the podcast where we talk everything film news, film progress, everything to do with film. Like I said, I'm the only one here today. We apologize. It's been a couple of weeks since we've actually been on the podcast. Sometimes, as we've always said, life gets in the way with sickness, with work. Dan's got a new job, which nobody knows about, which he, lovely backed out on us yesterday, very last minute, and kind of, left it all to me. But it's fine because we have some amazing guests on today's podcast. But yeah, we apologize. We're going to be more, consistent from now on. It's always been like this on the podcast where we have 1 week on, 3 weeks off, or 2 weeks on, 5 weeks off. But you know what? That's kind of what happens, and this is all about, the through the lens of the life of us trying to get into the industry through indie filmmaking, and sometimes this is what happens. And Dan said something to me yesterday where he's like, although I try to put my differences aside, I agreed with him. It's like, we do this podcast to get into the industry, so when we have things that come up, we gotta take them, and that's exactly what he's done. Why he's not here, but still I hate him at the moment, so that's all good. But yes, hopefully we'll have Austin and Dan on in the next couple of weeks. I know Dan's back next week, but we have the next 3 podcasts all booked in, so we will be getting some pre-production meeting content. But nevertheless, we have a special one today, and I'm not by myself, thank goodness. So these guys have come in clutch. But you know what? I've always had it as one of my goals in this industry to, create these sets and movies that are a bit larger than life, a bit unique compared to the regular kind of indie filmmaking sets that you usually get. And I try go above and beyond and risk a lot because, you got to be different in this industry. But with that goal comes another one of my goals, is kind of putting on a podium the undiscovered talent in this industry, and if I can risk it all to get, a different project that, people will get eyes on because it's unique, then I can put those undiscovered talents on that podium and show them to the world. And, our 2 guests today are some of the 2 most, I wouldn't say undiscovered talent, but, for the majority, you guys haven't heard their name, but after this podcast and in the future, you definitely will. So these guys are some of the most talented people that I've worked with, but also some of the most amazing film-esque minds that I've had the pleasure of having conversations with. And I wanted them on the podcast not because they're utterly talented, but also because of the stories and the conversations that I've had with each of them over my time. So without further ado, welcome to the podcast, Martin Cohen and Karina Summers.
Thanks, John.
How are you guys?
So good.
Yeah?
Good to be here.
Is this your first podcast?
Yeah, it's my first.
It is?
Yeah, I think it is. Actually.
You guys, and I've said this to most of the guests that we have on, you guys could have a podcast, just you 2.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I was privy to this, you guys were having your own little podcast when we were preparing for this. Mostly because I didn't know how to use the cameras, because that's usually Dan's job. But, like I've said, you guys, I've had some of the most amazing conversations with you. I've worked with you both. Karina, I've worked with you in Ozma as Lady Remingford, right? And I've worked with you in a supporting role. And Martin, you delighted us with your presence as a featured extra on Ozma, and hopefully in the future, may I get a bigger chance to work with you.
I'm down for it.
Yeah, but through that kind of process, Karina, we've had our coffee date that we had when getting to know each other for the role, and just hearing your story really inspired me, and that was a reason I wanted to get you on in the first place, is to tell your story from here to Singapore to New York and back to Sydney. And Martin, having the conversation with you when I went to do ADR at your house, all about music and your kind of crossover between music and film. And I'm excited to delve deep into both of those conversations today. You are very talented.
Oh, stop.
You are.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm excited to delve deep. And you both have had, and I said this to you both, when doing my research for this last night, you both have done way more than I actually thought. Like looking at both of your CVs and reading up on your experiences, I've got a few notes, but I've also got a few questions. But I think to kind of introduce this podcast and you guys to the audience, I want to somewhat get a summary of your kind of journey to the point where you are now. Karina, I think we start with you. Now you're Miss Worldwide, right? You're Singapore, New York, and here. You've done various amount of roles. You've been on 2 feature films, which I didn't even know as well. I would love to hear a kind of summary of your experience, and then we'll come to you, Martin, if that's all right.
Yeah. No, thank you, Josh.
No,
so great to be here. I'm always like,
Amazing.
talking about myself, I'd much rather talk about characters.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Amazing.
Okay, great. I'm here for it.
Yes.
But yes, in a summary, I have been very fortunate. I lived in Singapore. So when I was 19, I moved to Singapore. I got a chance to go to LaSalle College of the Arts there.
You got was it a bachelor in acting or something?
Yes,
Yep.
bachelor in acting.
Cool.
Research. So good. It was 3-year course. I was there for 5 years though, so I worked. I was lucky enough to work for a couple of years and stay there. It's such a beautiful place. I love Singapore. I loved it. Training was hard, but I really loved the challenge of it. And it was actually the acting program itself was taken over by teachers from NIDA who had taken it on. So they gave out scholarships to some really lucky Aussie kiddos like myself. So really lucky. I didn't even know where it was on the map. Like I was so young.
Yeah.
I was just like, take me there. Sure. So yeah, I was there, and then I met my husband while over there, who was at NYU. Joshy.
Hell yeah. Shout out Josh.
Shout out Josh. Love you, boo. So he was there at NYU Tisch Asia, which isn't there any longer, but our schools would kind of collaborate because they needed actors and we needed filmmakers and writers, and he himself is a writer. And then I moved back to Sydney for a short time before moving to New York, where he lived and resided. And then we got married. I stayed there for about 8 years and then moved back to Sydney.
Wow.
And,
That's why you use such a great New York accent.
Is he from New York?
So yeah, he was born in Boston. He was there. He was great Boston accent, let me tell you. But he moved to. Then they lived in upstate New York. Then he moved to Colorado, where he kind of grew up. But then he moved over there when he was 18, 19, and just lived there for the next 25 years, something like that.
Yeah, right. You did quite a bit in New York, but.
I did. I was really lucky that, I love New York. I miss it greatly. And it's such a big place. I didn't have an agent there, so it was all kind of
grinding yourself.
Hustling.
Sure.
But I was younger, full of energy, full of beans, and just was like trying everything and got to meet a lot of people, a lot of friends. But yeah, it was a lot. I got into screen there. So I in Singapore, and it was a lot of theatre. I was just kind of in rep. Like I was so fortunate. I was just in theatre and rehearsing for something else, in theatre, rehearsing something else. And then in New York, it was just screen. Like that was kind of where you...
More TV or more film?
More TV.
Discovery TV.
Discovery?
What is this? You have so many Discovery TV credits. What is Discovery TV?
It was like kind of daytime... Kind of like a lot of reenactments, a lot of stuff like that, or haunting, like scary stories, ghost stories, things like that, which was fun and different for me. I did some short films. I did a feature while in Singapore, which was really fun and kind of It was an Aussie actress who was the lead from McLeod's Daughters, which I was a huge fan of McLeod's Daughters.
Nice.
Shout out McLeod's Daughters.
There you go.
But then I actually took a hiatus from the industry. I was doing a lot of outreach actually at the time to work. I was part of a clown troupe, Zara Aina, which I deeply love, and also Dramatic Adventure Theatre Company, which I love so much as well. And I would travel overseas, and I just thought I really loved the education aspect of drama. I know that I feel very privileged as an actor to be doing what I love. And so I really wanted to do more of that in different places, and so traveled a lot, and I just kind of, to be honest, just became a bit lost in my place and like what I wanted to do. So I got my master's in applied theatre, which is theatre in unconventional spaces. And then, God, this is long. I really hate my own
love
voice.
it. No, it's fantastic. This is what a podcast is, man. Go on.
I know, that's why I'm
Keep
like,
talking. I love it.
Blah, blah. But yeah, no, thanks for listening. But yeah, it was a real treat, and I learned a lot. And so yeah, I got my master's, met some ridiculously gorgeous people, and it is education, and the arts is something I'm deeply passionate about, and being of service in that way. So I'm on my, I came back to Australia in 2021 to have my second son. I was pregnant during my master's a couple of times, had a couple of babes. And then I was like, I do miss it. I just kind of had a reframe, and I think growing older, you kind of get a little bit more clearer as to, you know, who you are and what you're doing and why you're doing it, which I think in this business is really integral, because it's tough. It's a tough business.
100%.
So obviously very rewarding, and again, privileged to get to choose to do it every day. But yeah, so here I am.
Here you are. And you know what? I think I want to touch on that. And I think how I'm going to go about this is I'll focus on you, then focus on you, and then we'll come together at the end.
Love this.
But you've had quite a diverse, you know, cultural experience going to all these different countries. How has that diverse cultural experience influenced your approach to acting and storytelling? Like, if you've taken like cultural aspects from each place that you've been to, has it influenced in the way that, I don't know, in any kind of aspect of your acting today?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you travel automatically, I think there's just for me personally, in my experience, you become more open to everything around you. And I think, I don't know, energetically speaking, you're just, you're ready to receive what's around you, and you're much more open in relationships and meeting new people and learning new things, and
for sure.
even hearing new languages. It's so powerful for the mind. I think the mind is such a sponge. And so for acting, you know, we are those sponges. For me anyway, the way I approach things is, you know, through you have your lens, right? So you're approaching all the characters. What's so beautiful about acting is, and having different actors in every role, is you get to really bring yourself into those roles.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, you know, your lens and your experience, and you know, I think for me personally, I take a piece of everything and every place with me. Traveling to Madagascar, I took, you know, was able to take there's so much play. I think working also with children and young adults, 100%. You just you get to play, and I think in our field we just get to play every day, and that's freaking amazing.
And what do you do every day when working with children? What can you say? Like, what is your day job?
I do work with children at the moment, and they just they're so brave and open and curious. I think I know for me, when I get really in fear, or when I get really self-doubt, I lose that curiosity. And I think kids, they have that in abundance. They're just so open, and again, they are those sponges on a daily basis. And having kids myself, like, it's, you know, they're always discovering, they're always figuring out. No, it's always yes and. You know, you're yes-anding the university, yes-anding every experience. And so I think working with kids is a real privilege, because they keep you in that childlike state to never to always be limitless in your perception of yourself and the world and what's possible. And I think we've had these beautiful chats, Josh, about magic.
Yes. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
It's so powerful, and I love your stories. I'd love it if you could talk about magic, because I love I love magic. It's so important to me.
I did magic to you on our first coffee.
Oh my gosh, Josh did a magic trick. It still blows my mind. I don't get it. And I think I was in an off-Broadway show with a magician in New York. Right, it was one of the first gigs I did, and I loved it, but I also hated it because I had to know all the tricks. And I was like, some of them I was like, don't tell me. He's like, Karina, we have to know. It's the amazing Max. He's brilliant. And I didn't want to know, but I had to know. But I still have this, there was still moments where I was like, how is he doing this? It was, I think, magic, and I think kids embody this on just in themselves and in their souls. They embody this. Magic makes the world limitless. Anything is possible. And I think as an actor and as a creative person, as a creative spirit, that's our juice. That's our stuff.
For sure. You said that you take a different piece from each kind of place that you've been with. Could you give us an example, just one thing that maybe you've taken from Singapore and New York? I know there's probably heaps, but
so much. Yeah. In a nutshell, because again, my voice, so much of it. But Singapore, wow, it's so much. I was so blessed to be there so young. I think independence I got there.
Nice.
And the people are just so wonderful and so loving, and I have friends today that I'll that are still there, and I miss them dearly. But I think for me, Singapore's a really special place for me because I was there from when I was like 19 to 24, and that was such a big time for me. I was away from my family, and I was in a relationship then as well. So like I had to grow up and figure out who I was, and I think we were all doing that together in my cohort. That was also so wonderful. And New York is so real. That's what I would take from New York. And I've had this beautiful conversation, and an acting teacher once said to me, every actor should live in New York for at least, a few months to a year, because it's kind of the mecca, and I was so lucky to be able to live there. But it
pretty
really
expensive these days, right?
Oh my God. Just thinking about it, my mouth goes dry. Love the 99-cent pizza. Shout out. But yeah, she's amazing and so real. I think New York really forces you to get real with yourself and real with who you are. And it's no fault of hers. She's just who she is, because she just forces you. Yeah, I can't even, it's so visceral.
No, fair enough.
But a magical place. It's the mecca of I think you just feel the creative.
Yeah,
Has anyone been to New York?
No, man, it's high up there on the list, definitely. Yeah,
she will get you.
I think the last one before we move on to Martin, you were away, was it for 15 years?
Yeah,
15 years abroad.
That,
From the moment you did you say, when did you turn to screen? It wasn't in before you went to Singapore, was it? Or were you studying anything to do with screen before you went?
I did do, it was all theatre, and then I did some short films, and I did a feature film there, and that's when I was like, ooh, I like this.
Okay, nice.
That's when I started.
So you started in Singapore, is that what you were saying?
In Singapore.
Yeah. Okay, cool. You haven't been back since?
I've been back to visit once.
Oh, you've been back to visit
for
once?
For 26 hours. Okay. It was very quick.
Amazing. In your 15 years abroad, kind of from when you started to now, have you noticed any significant changes in the industry from when you first started to now that maybe have impacted your career thus far?
From leaving Australia to now?
Yeah, from leaving Australia to now, kind of returning to Australia.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was so young. I just finished, I think the year before I just finished high school. Yeah. So I was I wasn't really in the industry, but I mean, just over the last few years, this, I feel like the industry has exploded and gotten bigger, and I don't know, there's so much amazing Australian content coming out and being made, and more voices being heard, and more just more that. It just seems, and I think I'm obviously a different person and older, and I'm into different things, but I'm the fortunate sets that I am on, I'm seeing a lot more of the people that I know as well. This industry is it's growing, and there's a lot of more filmmakers, incredible filmmakers out there, and I think Screen Australia is also making some really interesting things as well.
Big moves, 100%. And we're getting more sets and productions over here, more opportunities for people to even dip their foot in.
Yeah.
And I think one of those big productions that has been here in the last couple of years is Thor: Love and Thunder. And that kind of leads me into Martin here. You had a brilliant opportunity to actually be on that set. Get some screen time in the movie, my friend. But before we get into that, I think we start from your resignation from office life in 2019.
Yes. Oh God, that was such a terrifying moment in life. To leave a very good, stable, secure income and regular job and a long career path and go, you know what, I'm done. I can't do this anymore, and I'm going to just throw caution to the wind and see what happens.
Sometimes you got to do that.
Well, it's true. I think I've always had, that's what a job was to me. It was a safety net. And if you have a safety net, you fall into it. And I thought, you know what, I've got to just take the plunge at this point. I hate my job. And I was waking up in the morning going, I just can't bring myself to go into work. It was just killing me. It was such a mind-numbingly boring existence. And I thought, I can't do this to myself anymore. And as much security as it's giving me a false security, and it's actually holding me back. And so I just had this leap of faith and I'd quit, and my boss was shocked. It's like, you can't quit. And I said, just watch me.
How long were you working in the office before you quit?
That particular job, I think I was there for 8 years.
Oh my gosh. So out of nowhere, your boss would be like, Martin.
I think it was 8 years. Either that or the job before, which is a very similar job. Yeah. Company. I think they were either 5 or 8 years long each. I can't remember. It's 6. It's so long.
It was long. It was long. And from there, did you, what kind of happened next? Give us a summary of.
So when I quit, I just thought I'm going to maybe just resign, retire, take life and just chill. I don't know. I didn't know. I hadn't thought. I didn't think. Yeah. I was an idiot. And I was at my brother's place at some thing he had on, and I was talking to one of his friends that he's known since primary school, and he did extras work. Yeah. And I was realizing that all my friends and my family are still working, so I couldn't hang out with people. Oh, no. And I thought, okay, so I started in that dead time. I was doing things like I was trying to teach myself how to speak German and learning the yoga. You do things to try and occupy your time, otherwise you're a waste of a life.
Can you speak German?
No, ein bisschen. No.
Oh, bro, what is that?
I was like,
but only a little.
Yeah.
Well, there's Duolingo. It only takes you so far.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm at this thing with my brother at my brother's place, and his school, like his infant friend, a friend since infancy was there, and he did extras work. And he said, "Well, come and do some extras work." I go, really? Okay. And I had this flashback then that my brother used to do extras work, as did my dad and as did my grandmother. And I was never interested in it. I just thought,
no way.
Never. And another story actually.
No, you're good.
So, and I thought, okay, I've got nothing to lose. So I went and did this, had to do an interview and a bit of it wasn't an audition, it was an interview.
Yeah.
And so I signed up with this extras agency. And then I never heard anything. And like, what's going on? And this friend said, why aren't you doing anything? I said, I don't know. I haven't heard. I called them. They lost my paperwork. They spilled coffee on my paperwork and lost
it. Like the dog ate the homework. Wow.
It was that farcical. So I hadn't heard from them in a couple of months. And then all of a sudden, since they got my stuff, then suddenly I'm working. I'm like, oh my God, this is thrilling. And it was really exciting to be on these sets and seeing these people that I'd, watched on screens, big and small, and going, oh my God.
So when you first got into extra work, you were on these big sets. Who were some of those big names and big productions?
It was all like Sam Neill. Everyone. It was overwhelming. Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt.
Pratt?
Yeah, on Thor.
Oh, on Thor, yeah. Sure.
And just Home and Away, all the Home and Away. Like,
are you telling me Thor: Love and Thunder was one of your first extra gigs?
Yeah, it was pretty early on. I think I'd done a bit before then. Obviously, I'd done quite a bit. The word just kept coming in. Which was great. And in fact, my agent rang me. This was one of my very first things. It was called The Commons. And I suddenly was being this scientist, and I didn't know. I was brand new to this stuff. And my agent said, "Oh, they've asked for you again." Like, okay, great, sure. And I said, "What's going on? Like, why are they asking for it?" Like, I don't know. Like,
because you're amazing.
Because I thought that was normal. And she's like, "Yeah, no, they really want you." I'm like, okay, sure. Well, I'm available. Nice. Clearly. And that was a really great experience. And I remember actually, I suddenly when I started doing extras work, if I didn't get a call, I thought, oh, have I done something wrong? Have I pissed someone off on set? And I started realizing that this is part of the industry, is the ups and the downs. That you think suddenly you're in demand and everyone wants to know your name and wants to book you and wants to have conversations with you. And then the next minute, it's like radio silence. And you like, when I'd go through these, like, what have I done? Have I done something wrong? Have I really dropped the ball?
It's just the ups and downs. When it comes to extra work, do they tend to go back to the same extras?
They do.
Right, okay, interesting.
They do and they don't. Like if you're a shit extra, no, they don't want you back.
Yeah.
But if
what makes you a good extra?
Blending into the background, you're there not to still focus.
Yeah,
like you
fair.
don't. And like you just do your job, like and do it minimally. Don't try and draw attention.
Yeah, for
and I
sure.
remember seeing so many extras going, like, if you're doing like an outside scene or something, I remember actually it was at Home and Away and someone's like, oh, look at that.
Oh, no.
What are you doing? Like, no one's going to go, oh, there's a bird in the sky. Like, it was just so ridiculous. And the other, so there are things you see, and if you watch, as I now watch sometimes, as an extra thinking, oh, what's the background acting doing?
Yeah.
And you see, like, if it's a dinner thing, you see these extras and they go, they hold their wine glass and they go, cheers. Like, how many times are you going to cheers in your life? Like, seriously, we're just having dinner. So there are these things that people do because they think they've got to do something. It's like, just like acting, just be. Don't do, just be.
Yeah.
Oh. And so I learned so much being an extra.
How about Thor? How was that experience?
Thor
do you want
was-
to touch on that real quick?
Yeah, Thor was great. It was phenomenal because I was an alien. I was blue from head to toe.
Who did you play?
I played an Indagarian guard, so
Right.
guard number one
Yeah.
to Stephen, Stephen, not King. I want to say King.
Stephen King.
The name will come to me.
Yeah.
But I was a guard to the king of this planet, Indigar.
At the very start, right? Were you one of those ones that was...
Yeah, we had a movement coach and we had to look really like they wanted us to look quite emaciated and feeble and frail and petite and like completely devoid of any ability to protect ourselves, let alone a king. So we had these movement coaches and we had to sort of shuffle along and be really sort of twitching and blinking our eyes a lot. And
so
but
funny.
it was, I think it was 4 or 5 hours in hair and makeup before. And this is the middle of winter. So that we had to shave our entire bodies, including our heads. I remember when I first went in to get shaved, I like shaved my nose. I was like, no, I'll do this myself, thanks. It was just too intimate. And we're in the middle of winter outside and there was a 4-station process of getting spray painted. And you're literally standing there in boxer shorts and freezing, shivering. They didn't have heaters and you're getting spray painted. It's freezing cold at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, paint.
4 in the morning, winter, painted.
This was at
Fox Studios.
It was Fox Studios. Now it's like now Disney Studios.
Disney.
Yeah.
But they also filmed out in the open.
We did some
Centenary.
we
Park?
did some Centennial Park stuff.
Yeah, Centennial Park. You know what? Funny story. Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
When that was on, when the set turned up at Centennial Park, it was when I think we were all still in uni, and it was the first time that a big set has come to Australia, and sort of a set that you could see publicly, right? So me, Jay, Fetty, and maybe Austin, I can't remember, but we all set out one day. We're like, okay, we're going to actually try and get into this set. And I remember we went to Centennial Park and we were peeking over. We're like, this is so cool. And I remember the day before there were like photos that Chris Pratt was there and Hemsworth and Karen Gillan and stuff like that. And then I remember we tried to get in through the gate, just pretended that we could be there. Just no hope at all. But we did see the costume designer's golf buggy.
Yeah.
That was our highlight of the day.
I was on that buggy a lot.
Were ya?
Well, I was in full clothes, like I was blue with prosthetics all over me. I couldn't hear properly because the prosthetics were over my ears and I couldn't see properly.
Oh
and
my gosh.
I had this hat on and the weird
You
clothing.
should cut to a photo too.
Yes. Please send us a photo or video or something for the clips.
But it was also during COVID, so we also had to wear masks when we were not on set.
Yeah.
And even on set, they'd have to, and then they had to touch our makeup up, and it took so long.
Good experience, but right?
Yeah, great experience.
Yeah.
But I remember we being travelled from Centennial Park back to Fox Studios, and there's a whole crew of people that had to hold umbrellas up to hide us, not to protect us from the rain, or it wasn't raining. But there were cameras everywhere, and like, oh my god,
paparazzi, stop!
But they had to hide us because it was too obvious that we were part of this show, and they didn't want anything leaked. So that was, and then sitting on this bus is this blue weird alien, and people were driving past going, what's going on in the bus? Like, you look like some freak show.
Yeah.
But it was incredible set.
Wow.
It was an amazing set to be on. But it was even more amazing in Fox Studios because they'd recreated this entire planet.
Yeah,
and
wow.
they had a circular screen, digital screen, all
volume?
around the soundstage. Yeah, the what? Sorry,
The volume. I think that's what it's called. Is it full 360 LED screens?
It was
up on the roof as well. Yeah, the
Yep.
volume.
So we were reacting. So
Yeah.
if there was a lightning bolt, we saw it and it hit a tree and the tree blew up and we
Yeah.
were reacting to what we saw. It's like,
That's
this is
fantastic.
truly spectacular.
Yeah,
It's
And
amazing.
so much of it cut. It wasn't in the film. It's like, this
Yeah.
was, and it was great stuff to film.
that's amazing.
And they had this lake in the middle of the set and it was bubbling. It was it was extraordinary. It was extraordinary.
You meet Hemsworth and Pratt and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. They were always having
Lovely.
fun. Like Pratt was singing Michael Jackson and Hemsworth was always eating.
Oh my God, Hemsworth.
But they were always having a joke. And,
Oh,
And
gosh.
Hemsworth, I was actually like, as soon as he walked onto the set for the first time, I saw him like, yeah, you are Thor. He just
Yeah.
owned that. I mean, he physically is huge, like huge man. And it's him. Like he doesn't have to act. He's just Thor.
He's just
He's
Thor.
massive. And he
Thor.
just stood there like, my God, like I believe what I'm seeing. Like I'm buying what you're selling.
Did you have to prepare for that role in any way, shape,
Yeah,
or
we
form?
had a movement coach. And,
Yeah. Oh, of course, the
yes,
movement
and that
coach.
was quite a lot of sessions.
Really? Wow.
But so many of us, when we're in this weird wardrobe, you just can't do it. But we had the rehearsals not in wardrobe. So a lot of, and the shoes were so uncomfortable. Like
Did you do rehearsals on another day or on
we
the
had
day of
several
shoot?
days. No, not on the day
Wow.
of shooting. The coach was there, but you do these things over and over and over and over
That's
again.
crazy, yeah.
Like literally.
Never think that watching it that there is a movement coach behind
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Days of rehearsals.
Days of
Crazy.
rehearsals, but the thing is, the reactions that we were doing, that we were told to do,
Yeah.
was so ridiculous that the crew were laughing.
Oh my god,
They were laughing
that was a
so-
funny scene,
It
but
was so funny, and so it's hard to keep in character,
Yeah.
even as an extra,
Yeah.
when the crew's laughing because you're doing
Yeah,
what you're
oh my
supposed
gosh,
to do.
of course.
Yeah, so there was a bit of prep with that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But the prep was every day, getting the hair and makeup done.
Yeah.
like 4 to 5 hours, depending on who you were and what your character was.
you have good
and
convos with
there's-
the makeup artists and stuff.
Oh yeah, it was a massive team of people.
Yeah.
Massive team of people.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that occurred to me when I first started doing work on sets, is that for every person in front of the camera, there's about 20 people behind.
That's crazy.
So the more people on set that
It's
are in
real.
front of the camera, there's a slew of people behind that to make that happen.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So the people in front of the camera are the least important people on any set. It's the truth. It is the truth. And
Yeah.
no one can do their job in front of the camera if the people behind the camera aren't there. And that was an
Yes.
epiphany, an awakening for me.
Incredible.
Such an involved
So then,
environment.
after Thor: Love and Thunder, and after you've done a couple extra roles, where does life lead you then?
Well, I started realizing that I was an imposter, that I didn't know what I was doing.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I had no training. I'd never acted before. I'd had a lot of interest as a kid, but was constantly told, don't do it. It's a hard life. Don't do it. Especially growing up as a musician. So I thought, well, what I've got to learn. I've got to learn what all the terminology is. I need to know what cameras do, and I need to know what a two-shot is. I didn't know anything. So I went to school. So I did some study, and I did an amazing course at Screenwise. Shout out to Screenwise for giving me such a great start.
Shout out Screenwise.
And I did some study at NIDA as well. Shout out to them. Did some improv, did AMAW, and I keep studying.
What is ANAW?
Oh my God. I just did a class with the legend himself the other day.
Yeah.
AMAW, Anthony Mindel Actors Workshop.
Nice.
AMAW.
Yeah, AMAW.
Yeah.
Workshop. And it was the method that
AMAW.
really, you've done it.
Love.
And I had Ben.
Oh yeah.
So it was such an incredible way to learn how to act, which is just such a naturalistic way.
Yeah.
And no fucks given. Literally,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
mantra kind of thing. And I had an actual class with Tony Anthony on Monday night, which was incredible.
Nice.
Like, such a privilege to work with the guy that's created this method that works for me. So that was my next step after getting into extras, is to actually then become educated, and because education is power. And so then I no longer felt like an imposter when I walked onto a set, be it as an extra or as an actor or as just a visitor to a set. I felt like I'd earned my place there.
Brilliant.
And I think that's so important to do. And it
Amazing.
was my way of honoring everybody else that was there
Yeah.
and not disrespecting them, because I needed to have an idea of some of the stuff that they've gone through. And I still feel like a bit of an imposter because I'm so new at this. I'm so new at this, and yeah, I am. and so, and people like you, like you've had lives that have led to this point, and mine's only been a few years. So I've still got a long way to go, which is why I'm still learning.
It doesn't matter when you start.
Exactly.
Like, you know, there was that actress in Black Panther. She started acting at 80 years old.
Wow. Good on her.
Like,
That's
no matter
amazing.
what age, when you start, everybody has.
Well, this is the thing that inspires me, like the Morgan Freeman story.
Yes,
50s.
Harrison Ford, 42.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So these are those things that motivate and inspire me and keep me going. And then when I go to these acting classes, like I did on Monday, and I look around, I think, how many of you are going to stick at it? And when you talked about having a hiatus, it's so easy to do because there's so much burnout, there's so much peaking and troughing.
Yeah.
And there are so many people that go, you know, I'm done. I can't keep the rejection because big part of the job is being told no.
Yeah.
No. And if you can't accept the no as an answer,
Yeah.
and that was what I was talking about, the ups and downs of feeling like, oh, no
So
one's calling me
real.
and no one wants to talk to me. What have I done wrong? It's not that you've done wrong. It's just that there are times when there is no's, and that's what you hear because you're not right for the role. It doesn't mean you're not right at
So
all.
many things.
It's just and that's the way it is. And
Yeah.
you don't lose a job. You just don't get it. It's
Yeah.
because it's not meant for
I
you.
love that.
Oh.
So you don't
But
lose a
it's-
job.
Amen.
you
I
don't.
love that.
Well, you can lose a job if you screw up and you get it and then you lose it.
Also true.
But
Also
you know
true,
what I mean?
yeah.
That's great, and I think what really I really took away from our conversations that we've had in the past, something that really inspired me about you is your music background as well. Principal flutist of the Wallara Council, right?
Wallara
Incredible.
Philharmonic
Well,
Orchestra,
yeah. I want you to touch on kind of your background in music.
Well, music was always my thing. That was I had a babysitter.
Yep.
Who I'm still in contact with now. Actually, it was her birthday the
Really?
other day. It was her birthday on the 7-year anniversary of me not smoking.
Yeah.
So her name is Ione, and she's one of the most influential people in my life.
Yep.
She probably doesn't know that. She lives in America, and she was my babysitter. And I'd grown up with in a normal house, but my father played music. He played the piano accordion. He had a little band, and it was really
That's
something.
cute. Yeah,
But that never
nice.
triggered anything. But then Ione came over to babysit, and we had this clapped out piano that was my father's when it was given to him secondhand when he was a kid, and it never got played. Except by my grandmother who played stride piano. But anyway, Ione came over and she played a piece of music on the piano, and something snapped. I'm like, oh my God, I need to be able to do
that's
that.
exactly what happened with me in filmmaking. I've
Really?
told you that story where, my grandfather was a filmmaker, played films for us that he's made, and also just like Star Wars on VHS growing up. And it wasn't only till his wake where they played a bunch of his short films that I had that click moment.
That snap.
I feel you.
And it was this electric bolt. I'm like, oh my God, I need to do that. And that moment changed my life. And from then on, I was obsessed with music and I had to play. And so again, what do? You become educated.
Yeah.
I had a series of bad piano teachers that just didn't know how to teach until I went to the conservatorium, and then I got a great piano teacher,
Stunning.
and that was also wonderful. And I learned the flute as well, and I had fantastic flute teachers, and and it's always been something that I've done. I never really wanted to be a professional musician, but I always wanted to play, and I wanted to play in an orchestra. That was my goal. Play in an orchestra. As a pianist, it's really hard to play in an orchestra.
Yep.
So the flute was the vehicle to that.
Nice.
And the flute always came easily to me. Whereas the piano didn't. So I, of course, always spent more time on the piano. And it was this love-hate relationship. Why can't I play the piano like I can play the flute? So the flute was always a gift. It was a gift, actually, that I was lucky to have, to be able to play it and not have to work too hard at it. So I was very fortunate with that. But I think all the work on the piano had helped the flute.
Yeah, for sure.
So I've been running this little orchestra, the Wallara Philharmonic Orchestra, for
Love it.
I think something like 15 years now.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's a long time, and playing flute in that, which is
Yeah.
such a privilege to be able to do what I always dreamed I wanted to do, which is play an orchestra without the pressure
Yeah.
of being like the Berlin Phil. Or I've got a lot of friends in professional musicians that play in orchestras, and there's a lot of pressure on them.
There
You've
is.
got to be perfect every single performance,
It's a lot.
and these people they're incredible musicians.
I remember, and this is a funny story. Once upon a time, this is a bit sidetracked, but I think it was Jay who works in. You both have met Jay, the behind the scenes. He's a funny guy, and I remember one story he once told me. How I can't remember. I think he might have been at school, and they were all leading up to this performance at the Opera House where they were performing in a little like orchestra thing or whatever, like at his school. And he thought it was a funny joke to pretend that he knew how to play the flute. And I remember he jigged his way all the way to this performance. He had no idea how to play the flute. And they came to the opera house where he was timed to kind of perform, and he had no idea what to do. And I can't remember the ending to the story. We need him to come in and tell it, but God, that is hilarious.
Actually a nightmare.
Anyway, bringing it back to you, how does your kind of musical training and your education influence your approach to acting, if there is any crossover?
All connected.
Yeah?
It's all connected. It's just like you were saying, you take a little piece of everything everywhere you go and be, and it's all connected. And music is a big part of how I work as an actor, because preparation is everything. And I can't just turn up and play a concerto by Beethoven without having learnt it first and preparing for it, memorizing it, working out all the history behind the composer. It's all connected. So as an actor, I use a lot of my musical training in that, particularly with inflections and colors. In fact, I think you've seen some of my scripts that I've worked on. I use a lot of color as well.
Yes.
But I also use a lot of musical notation. So crescendo, diminuendo, ritardando, all these, like a lot of Italian terms that I use in music, I put on my scripts to remind me of the musicality of how we are as people, as individuals, and the emotion that comes in with every single note. And that's something as well, is that in acting, we always think, don't tell, show.
Yeah.
And it's the same with
It's
music.
the same with all aspects of filmmaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want exposition. You want
God.
the depth of it. And it's the same with learning a script. It's like, find the bits that I can show rather than that I can talk.
Yeah.
And the word is the vehicle to the expression. And that's where extras work has come in as well, because I can't speak as an extra. And I learn so much as a silent actor in how much you can say without saying. Yeah. And the scripts sometimes is overwritten. And you think, well, what can I sort of color differently so that the words aren't as important as the intention behind the words?
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert Redford used to, with his scripts, just cross things out with the director and be like, I can do that with my face. I can do that with my face.
That's
I can do that with my
fantastic.
face.
Yep.
Like paragraphs at a time.
I had some feedback from that from my script, you know, which was months and months of feedback from different people. But one of them was like, from this, he's not even really in the film industry. He's just a writer. And he's like, you can show this with facial expression. Yeah. You don't need to say it and stuff like that. So I get it. 100% I get it. How much time does your involvement with the orchestra that you play in take up? And how do you kind of how do you balance your commitments to both your acting and your musical?
Look, look, it's an interesting question. I think if I was new to it, it would take a lot longer than it does. But as you know, when the longer you're in a job, the easier it gets, and the more you can get done within a little amount of time.
Yeah.
Because so much of it's instinctive. You don't have to think about it. You just know what to do.
Yeah.
The orchestra takes up a lot of my time. But I'm at the point where I know how to get it done quickly now. But it's always here. You're always thinking about it. Like even yesterday, I work years ahead, literally years ahead. And I've worked out a program for 2026 with the conductor, and I sorted that out like a couple of years ago. And I sent him an email going, oh my God, there's still something wrong with the program. And we need to add something more to it. And so I sent it to him. Like, so even that far ahead, I'm still thinking of it. And it just comes to you like, oh my God, I know I now need to add this into that concert.
Wow.
So yeah, it does take up a lot of time, but it's over a lot of time that it takes up as well.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's again where I'm lucky on the flute, is that I don't have to spend a lot of time practicing. More of my time is spent in the administration of the orchestra than actually in the
fair
playing.
enough.
But we rehearse only once a week. So it's a community orchestra. So we
Yeah.
rehearse once a week, Monday nights, a couple of hours, and that's it.
Fantastic. You know what really, this is like a recent thing, and I hope you don't mind me sharing. But, you know, these two beautiful humans are currently applying for my next film, audition-wise, and Martin sent in his tapes, and, you know, you sent me two parts. You sent me the tape, but then he sent me some preparation itself, and you playing the song that I wrote into the script on the piano.
oh my God.
Dude, that was insane. That got me. I was not expecting that.
I send it, or is that overkill?
No, not at all. That was fantastic. I don't want to say too much more on the audition process because, you know, just in case.
But that's what we do as actors. We prepare, and it's the layers that you build into a character. There's so much backstory.
Yeah.
But that was a no-brainer for me because I was lucky enough to read the script.
The whole script.
Yeah.
He helped me out with the first draft. He was the first person I sent
that
it
a lot
to.
too.
He did. But from where it is now, did I send you the most recent? No, okay, I will anyway. But so different. But your feedback was invaluable. All right, I have a lot of questions. First of all, I think this was a really good question that I came up with. But is it alright if I call you guys emerging actors? Would you still classify yourselves as emerging actors?
Well, this is something I wanted to talk to you about.
Talk to me.
Because you said at the beginning of this today, you said that you're trying to break into the industry. And
I am, yeah.
And I argue that because I think you are the industry.
Oh, you reckon?
I agree.
Wow.
There's no breaking in because you don't
yeah.
break into an industry. You create it, you form it, you develop it. So I wanted to.
Clap
I was looking for a way to get back to that, and I'm glad you
love it.
I agree.
So in terms of, because someone says, "Are you trying to be an actor?"
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not trying.
No,
I am
you
an
are
actor.
an actor.
Are you an aspiring
Fantastic.
actor? No, I'm an actor. Okay, sometimes
All
that
right.
work. But I'm still an actor. And so like you're not trying to break into the industry. You are the industry, Josh.
Oh,
Yes.
fantastic.
So don't think that you haven't made it yet. You've made it. This is what it is. This is the hustle. This is the everyday.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. As actors trying to make it to the main stage, how do you navigate the fine line between staying true to your artistic vision and who you guys are as actors and accommodating to the demands of commercial cinema?
I have an example. So I'm working on a short film with some great guys.
Yeah.
And I've had the opportunity to work on some vertical productions, those ones that are filmed in portrait mode.
Yep.
And they are the same story over and over again. And while they're good for earning a bit of cash, they're soul destroying artistically because it's the same story.
Is it for TikTok or
it's
like
for TikTok kind of
Instagram?
generation.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I think it's a good way for the industry to start going, but these stories are the same. It's just a different genre of the story. So it might be a vampire story. It might be a school story, whatever. And I made the choice. I'm saying to this guy, here's the vampire version of what we knew was going to come out. I can't do any more of these. So that artistically was not going to fulfill me. So you have to always make choices. But then you've got the challenge of, well, I need the work. I need the money. Do I sell myself out, take the job? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I've got nothing more to learn from doing that particular production. I'd rather do an extras job than that job.
And would you learn more on those vertical productions, or
I've learned everything I can now.
Would you learn more on that or the extras role?
More on the extras. Extras is so different every single time.
Okay.
And with extras work as well, you learn to always be humble because you are the lowest rung on the lowest ladder as an extra. You are. And so you always learn humility. You always learn how to keep your place, how to hold your tongue, how to work out who the right people are to avoid, because some people are going to suck your energy away from you, and it's so invaluable.
But extras are so essential to the story. Like you
they
create
are,
the
man.
world.
Holy crap.
Like without how to create a world, I just find very generous, very
There's no
kind.
small roles, and I said this
No.
to you on
Agreed,
our first meeting. Like, no matter who you are, what kind of stage or role you are, there is no small roles because, as you said, they build the world.
Yeah.
That's the most important. How about you, Karina? What's your kind of view on that?
I think it's as I get older, for me it comes down to your values, and of course it comes down to so many things. I think, again, I'm so grateful to be able to do this job and to have a job and an income that I can kind of juggle things and so forth, but I think it just comes down to, an acting teacher always told me your talent lies in your choices. And I think I really do aspire to make the choices that align with where I am in my life, who I am in my life at that time, and just keeping that as centered and grounded in myself as possible. This is also a people industry.
It is.
We get to work with incredible people and it can come down to, obviously incredible directors and film visionaries and the script and the writers and then the people, the crew and your co-stars and, sometimes if you are in a privileged position where sometimes, the resources aren't as big as, but you're working in a world that you're like, oh my God, I love this story and I'm able to, step into the role of this character, then yes. So I think it does change from job to job. It is such a different thing each time, but I think as I am aspiring to really, as I grow as a person and as I grow as an actor, asking, is it aligned with my values and who I am? And
perfect. I love that. I think those are really, really great answers. Where you guys are at your career now, and the journey to how you've got there. How have your goals and aspirations as an actor changed over time? You know, as you grow older, as you get further in your career, you know, how has your goals changed? Yeah.
I think my goals and aspirations are the same still.
Yep.
I think I just want to be working.
Yep.
And I want to be creating. I want to be telling stories. I want to be able to have a life outside of my own. And that's what I think being an actor can do is it allows you to play, like you were saying, Karina, is that you can play and do things that you normally wouldn't get a chance to.
Yeah.
I'm not an alien, but I played an alien, and that's extraordinary as well. I'm not a doctor, but I played a doctor. These things are quite a privilege to step into someone else's shoes and to be this entirely different person.
Yep.
Even if it's only for a short amount of time. And that's a wonderful thing to be able to do. So I guess, from realizing I wanted to learn about this industry and be part of it, nothing's changed. I just kind of want to keep learning and keep doing different things and exploring what it's like to be someone else and get into their head and go, oh my God, this is extraordinary to be here.
Yep.
And then you have to get rid of it.
Love it.
That's such a privilege.
Yeah. Karina?
Yeah, absolutely. I think stepping into someone else's shoes is a privilege, and it is about play, and I think it's also for me a lot about self-belief. Like this industry can be really tough, and I think as I get older, as I get bolder, as I get a little bit more unapologetic, for taking up space. Like I think I get a little bit more, to be honest, ambitious in what I can and can't do. And I think I'm still on the journey of, believing in myself. But as I do, and as I think it is, again, also a muscle. When you get these opportunities and these roles and you do it, I think you do automatically, like you do take a piece of them with you and you get bolder, and these characters get to fill you up and fill your soul, and you get to be like, oh, I am more, I can be more. Oh my gosh, I can do this, I can be more, I can be a doctor, I can be a violinist. I don't know, I could never. But
Yes, you could.
but I think for me it is all those things, and it's a journey.
That's fantastic. And you guys definitely touched on this earlier on in the podcast, and I see like a lot of similarities between you guys is your preparation, for roles. And I think what better than now, to get two of the people that I respect the most when it comes to preparation to tell their process when it comes to preparation, from script analysis to character development. How do you guys prepare for a role?
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting seeing from actor to actor and actress to actress.
Yeah.
Tell
do
us.
a lot of prep. I spend a lot of time going through a script, and I literally go through it with lots of highlighters, and I find connections.
Yeah.
And I walk in the character's shoes. I literally will pace around my home, my apartment, and I just and I will sing in their headspace, and I will play music in their headspace, and I will jog in their headspace. Like I literally just become them.
Yeah.
And just going over the lines. That's so important. But when I do the lines, I also find alternatives to every single line. Like if the line is open the door, I'll find another way to say open the door. You have to, so that when you get in the moment, you're not thinking, oh my God, what's my line? It doesn't matter anymore. The line doesn't matter anymore. It's the intention of the line that matters.
Mate,
so if I forget the line, I don't care if I forgot. No, I just go with it.
You know what? I love that, because Karina can tell you this. When it comes to rehearsals and what we did for Ozma, I very much so have that mindset. I said to all of these guys, I'm like this script is a guideline. Like if you embody the character enough, man, if you have an idea, you want to change the line, you come to me. Like I'm not one of those directors that shut it down. I truly believe if you do enough preparation, you get into the character, you know what they'll say. So I relate to that.
Well, thank you for saying that. That's such a gift as well from
generous,
a director.
yeah.
That is really generous. Not every director will be like that, and that's fine. Everybody has
their own.
Yeah.
Sure.
But that is something that I would really take on as a gift. So thank you. But yeah, that's wonderful to hear.
Yeah. Fantastic. Sorry, where were we?
Fun.
I kind of lost where we were at. Your preparation.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, so and finding the hidden meanings.
Yeah.
Building the history of the character. It's important. Like I don't walk around as me every day going, oh, okay, I remember when I was 3 years old, I fell over. that's part of what's part of my life, but I don't think about it every day. But again, that's what you have to build into a character as well. So if I've been a character, then I'll think, okay, I had a childhood. Yep, it was lovely, or it was terrible, it was traumatized, but I don't carry that with me onto the set. But it is what I've done in my preparation.
Sure.
But that's what you have to do. That's, for me, that's the homework.
Yeah.
Finding those that real existence before the camera's rolling.
Sure. 100%.
So yeah.
There you go, Karina.
Yeah, love it. I love prep. It's my favorite. I love it. It's so fun. I love words. I love looking at the script. I love looking at different meanings. I usually take my first instinct, like when I first read it, I note down any images, I underline lines that hit me, myself, with my experience and what that means for me, and, you know, what other characters say about me and what I say about myself and other characters. That's really big for me as well. And then I just look at, I love just understand. I really need to know, and I think just me as a person, I love to know like the circumstance, like what exactly is happening. What is the through, like what's the line of this? Like I love what you said about the musical score of a scene. I think that's so beautiful. I had a teacher once who would score everything and be like, what's the note? Where are we? But I think it's different. Some characters are, it's such a different, like, you know, for Lady Remingford, it was so visceral for me. Like I got images, and sometimes I get images, sometimes I get songs. Like it just depends. And I think I really try to be, my life is pretty chaotic, so I try to be really grounded when I read something. Like it's really important for me to have my own time and my own space, so I can really just let whatever is in, or the way that I interpret it in. But usually my instincts is where I go. Sometimes I've danced a character, I move, like I love to figure out where they hold their center. It depends on, obviously, you know, if it's an audition and how much time I have. But I love getting in there when I do get, like for Lady Remingford, I loved rehearsal. I loved being able to put the character's shoes on and have that time. I think it's so valuable with the other characters and you know, with somebody. You're such a great collaborator, Josh. Like it's really lovely, and you're so open with your process. And I personally, I love working that way. That's how I love. And so it's really lovely to be able to be told, like you said so beautifully, Martin, like it's so nice and generous to be able to have that freedom, because it just frees us up. I don't know, as an actor, it's so, you're like, oh, I've got no limit. Okay, I can bring myself more into this.
For sure.
And see where it goes.
We came up with some really good prep for Lady Remingford as well. Like, was it Marilyn Monroe?
Yeah.
She always puts on puts on the facade, like that war. Oh, that was fantastic. That was fantastic. Was there anything else you wanted to add on your process, or was that about it?
Oh no, it's like such a juicy. It's always evolving. Yeah, I love it.
Awesome. So bringing it back to when you said you're on set for Thor and you're looking there around at the volume, and you know you would see a lightning bolt go and then hit a tree. That's an example of kind of where technology's taken us in the future when it comes to filmmaking. With the ever-changing, ever-growing, thing of technology in the film industry, how do you see traditional acting methods and techniques changing over time?
Ooh, that's interesting. Look, I think so many fads come and go.
Yep.
And so many fashions come and go. And as similarly, there are different styles of acting that come and go. You know, you've got the whole film noir, and you've got the overacting, you've got the smell the fart acting, and
smell the fart.
You don't know smell the fart acting?
What?
You don't know?
No.
Have you never watched Friends?
Yes.
Friends. Joey Tribbiani. His acting method. If you have to. Smell the fart acting.
I love that. Smell the fart. Fantastic.
But so I think there will be differences in acting styles. There have been, and it changes. Same with film technique and cinematic view. Like there's always going to be changes. You have to go with it, because you know that's what the world does. You change fashions and you change trends. So you lean into that. Have to always lean into it, and there's different styles of acting, be it theater or you know, there's always different ones. So where it's going to go, I don't know, but I'm happy to try it out and explore it. It's always fun. I mean, it's like doing a different accent or being a different person. It's always fun to give these things a go. And if it isn't, then you stop doing it. You know, right, I'm not doing that, like these vertical productions. Not fun for me anymore.
Fair.
but unless someone comes up with one that is fun.
Yeah.
So I don't know where it's going to go. It's a great question. Where do you see it going?
Oh God, I wasn't
Tell
prepared
us.
for this. I have a hope to where it would go, and it's actually the opposite way. Because I'm all about the
Classics.
practicals,
Bring it back.
and a big thing for me that I see is, those original Transformers movies. Although they weren't the
They were
best.
originally cartoons.
Yeah. The real life versions, that's CGI, fantastic, and
Yeah.
somehow, years later, where technology's improved, the CGI now looks so much worse than how they were in that
Harrison
first
Ford one that
kind
came
of.
out recently. There was a recent Harrison Ford Temple of whatever thing came out.
Oh my God, the Indiana Jones.
Oh, the new one.
Yeah.
If you liked it, I'm
Don't.
sored, but I
No.
this was-
We backed it out on this podcast.
Because it was, not
Yeah.
good, but yeah. It was, there was so much tech in that.
Oh,
that
dude.
It lost any
Yeah.
sense of artistic
Yeah.
involvement and credibility.
And
I remember when I first saw Harrison on the screen in that, you look ridiculous.
Dude.
There's nothing at all believable about
Yeah.
this. And
That's
the
what I
art
mean,
of
man.
that's the art of storytelling. Is it's got to
Yeah.
be credible. You've got to be drawn into the world.
Yeah.
And that can be a cartoon that does it, but that was an imposter of a film.
And it's also I think people are doing
word.
it for much cheaper. We've said much harsher
Good.
stuff on this
You can edit it out.
but I think people do it for much, I think because it's cheaper. But then it also, not only is it cheaper monetary value, but it cheapens the value of the movie. You know what I mean? So I'm very much, practical and trying to, and you see the movies that really excel these days, like for example June 2 that just came out.
Yeah.
Most of it's
Haven't seen it
practical.
yet.
What?
Haven't
I
seen
haven't
it yet.
seen
Well,
it.
I didn't like June 1 because I was like,
Neither did I.
okay, yeah.
And June 2 was one of the best films I've ever seen.
I will see it. I
What?
will see it, but I haven't yet.
Yeah, and then I rewatched June 1. Fantastic. So weird. So weird.
Yeah. Well, I will see it. I
Interesting.
believe the music in it is meant to be
Dude.
spectacular. So I've got to go.
That's
You
why
gotta
I'm
go.
surprised you
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think for me, tech, when it takes away from the storytelling or the character, I love my character-driven stories, simple storytelling, that's when I go, where have we got? If it's
Yeah.
more about how this looks and the aesthetics, then you lost me.
Well, there's
Like,
a time and a
I'm
place
out.
for everything. Like you do want your big blockbusters,
Sure,
Yeah.
they're
but
fun.
but
I
there still
love-
needs to be a heart to it. And
That's
Yeah.
June 2. You
Yeah,
know
okay.
what?
I will see it.
And
I will.
I said this on the podcast, I think maybe the last one, is it was so good to see that through the huge blockbuster, which was June, all the massive sets they've created, incredible cinematography, Denis Villeneuve still prioritizes story.
Good.
Of
and
course,
character.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, where was the
know?
story in June 1?
Yeah, it was leading up to this one. Again, I hope you like it,
okay. It's
If I
but
a
don't, you're going to refund me the ticket.
yeah, sorry. Anyways, I think these last two questions are a bit fun, so we'll finish off with these. But as we ask every guest that comes on, any bad set experiences
Yeah.
that you can share? Name and shame.
Yeah.
Nah,
First,
no,
yeah.
No,
first.
you go first. I'm in my
Yeah.
memory.
Look,
bank.
as an extra,
Yeah.
you expect to be treated like shit. Like you do. You're subhuman, you're vermin.
Oh,
No, seriously.
shit.
That's what happens.
What?
The industry hates extras and it's frowned upon to be an extra as well. I, however, learn a lot from being an extra. So I don't care
Didn't
what the
Matt
industry says.
Damon and
Yes,
Ben
Ben
Affleck
Affleck,
start as
exactly.
So did
Lots
Brad
of-
Pitt. Everyone
lots
did.
of
Everyone started as extras. But the industry just doesn't respect you as an actor if you do extras work. But I'm like, I'm sorry, I'd rather do extras work than drive an Uber. That's just my
Fair
preference.
enough.
Fair.
Yep.
So, because we all know that 97% of actors are not working as actors. So, anyway, bad set experience. I won't say the production, but it was as an extra. They need to feed you because you can't leave set. You can't leave location. You usually can't take anything with you from unit base to location.
Yep.
And so you can't take your food, your snacks, whatever. And they're not feeding you. Like, well, and yet they were feeding the crew. And like, well, we're human too. We need to eat. And they were making us stand out in the rain when we were, it was just awful. Then they said, oh, we're going to bring you some food. The food never came. I've had some, and I actually remember writing to my agent, which I'd never done before, and complained and said, look, they treated us like absolute vermin. If they don't want us on set, don't book us. And I never went back to that production. I said, don't put me on that production again.
Crazy.
Good on you.
Good
Really
stuff. Stand up
And
for
there were
yourself.
people, even the nurse on that set was crying. She'd been treated so badly. I was looking after the nurse.
Oh my God.
There were other extras that were crying. All their clothing and their bags had got wet in the rain. Like, it was awful. They just treated us with
terrible.
such
so sorry.
nothingness.
Disgust, yeah.
So yeah, there's some bad stuff that happens on sets.
Yeah.
And that's just as an extra.
yeah.
I'm sure that other people get treated really bad.
Sure.
And, you hear people yelling on sets, and there's some stuff that goes on.
What
It's not an easy industry.
What's your thought on, did you see that Tom Cruise blow up?
Yes, I did.
What are your thoughts on that? Because I'm intrigued.
Look, I can understand it. He was stressed. I mean, that film is his baby.
Yeah.
Get it? Like when you're in a
COVID
position,
a hard time
it
as
was
well.
a hard time. He needed to obviously take a chill pill.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're there to get a job done. I think he overreacted. But he's human. He's human as well.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Karina.
Love that. Yeah, I think it's just that thing of feeling not seen. Like I did have a director once that like kept calling me every name but my name and like talking to people about me, to somebody else. And, it's just those moments where you just feel unseen and yucky, and you're very vulnerable. As actors, we're there to problem solve. We're there to be the solve a problem for the director and for the crew and everyone. Like we're all there to solve problems. But yeah, when it's when you're not on the same page, that's when you feel disemboweled. I don't know. Is that a word? Is it a word?
Sure.
Disemboweled?
We'll roll with it.
It's a new word.
We'll go with it.
It's a good word.
Yeah, it's really upsetting, and it
Yeah.
can feel just like deeply
That's
personal. When
terrible, man.
sometimes it's not personal. It's where they are, but it can feel deeply personal and like oof.
Speaking about directors, right? I've seen this on. It's one of those YouTube question things that they do. What's the worst note a director's ever given you?
Better.
What? No way.
Truth.
What?
Yeah.
That's so bad.
Better.
Holy crap. Oh, there you go. Little New York. Better, huh?
But yeah, oof.
Go get me a coffee.
Yeah.
Better.
And a bagel. Tops. Stat.
Martin?
The worst note I've ever been given was one that was like a 30-minute it felt like a 30-minute note.
Oh my God.
It wasn't about me. It was just, they just liked the sound of their own voice. And I just kept going. And at the end of it, I said, what's your point? Like, what do you want me to do? And I said, so you want me to turn to the left? Got it.
No.
That was it. And it went on and on.
Oh
and I'm like,
God.
what the fuck do you want? Like, just get to the point. Like, I literally said, what's your point? And for me to get to that, I was like seething inside, like, get on with this point. Like, what's the note?
Far
And
out.
it was literally, you want me to turn to the left?
Turn to
like
the left.
5 centimeters. That was it.
I'm sorry, guys. This has all happened to you. That's
No,
it's
don't.
bloody
it's
terrible.
all-
You have to have a tough skin.
Totally.
You have
Yeah.
to.
Oh, you
100%.
do.
It's the
in this
no, it's the
industry.
rejection, it's
100%.
being told what to do
Yeah.
better. It's like be more, be less.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
I was
Yeah.
telling you I did a class, and it was like I did a test on this class, and I did it a few years later, and I did the same scene, and one teacher said do it this way, so I did it that way. I then took the same scene and did it that way, and they said do it the other way, which is how I originally did it.
Yeah.
So everyone's going to give you a different point of view. And
Yeah.
it's just sometimes the note is different.
Yeah.
That's it. Just for play, just to try.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy.
you have to have a tough skin. You have
You
to be able
do.
to take this on.
You do.
And not let it crumble you.
Oh
Yeah.
man! All right. Well, I think this is the one that we end on in terms of questions, and we're going on to the seg at the end. As you guys continue to build your careers, I want you to tell me what kind of legacy you want to leave behind. But one in the roles that you portray, but also the impact that you have on the industry.
Wow, you go first because I need to think.
Yeah.
Take your time.
This is
a big one.
a great, beautiful question. I think as an artist, I really do aspire to ask myself what I'm bringing into this world, what stories I'm telling, I don't know. Yeah. What is my legacy, especially having kids? I think that's something I do take seriously. And especially because, you are creating these stories that are on film that will be there, that they will be able to watch, that I will be able to see again, or etc. And I think my hope is to just bring stories to life that help people connect. I think we're living in a world where connection is so important for us just as human beings to continue to live on this planet. And I think in love and peace and joy and all the things, but I think just being able to tell stories that help remind us of our humanity and of our abilities to have empathy, to have connection, to have joy, to have love. Obviously there is a place for all the stories that are about disconnection and about the cost of that. But I think just bringing our humanity into this world is really important for me, and in terms of service as well. That's something I hope to leave behind.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Martin.
Oh my goodness, such a difficult question to answer.
It's so big.
And I'm kind of, as I think about it and I get confused by it, I think of the different things that I've heard from both of you. And I know that one of your favorite movies, in fact, your favorite movie is La La Land. My favorite movie is Titanic. I don't know what your favorite movie is.
Ooh, that's tough.
But I want to, I guess, have a legacy where someone goes, I love this story. I love the way it was told. I want to watch it again and again and again. I want to be moved by it perpetually.
Love it.
And if I can do that, if I can be part of that in any in any minor or significant way, then that's my goal achieved.
Amazing.
So I think that's what we do. We want to have an impact that's going to affect someone in a way that's worthy. And for you to have a favorite film is so wonderful. And a lot of people don't. I went to Titanic 15 times at the cinemas.
Oh my
15
gosh.
times.
Yeah.
I've never done that in my life.
That's amazing.
But it moved me. It moved me so many. And every single time I was in tears. Every single time. I still watch it if it comes on TV. I've got the DVD.
Same.
I still watch it.
Same.
And every time I'm moved, it was such a beautiful story.
Moulin Rouge, I think, is one of my
Yeah.
Love that
time.
film.
Yeah.
So that's what I want. I want to be able to have an involvement in a production where
Yeah.
I'm able to give someone something that carries with them for a length of time.
Goddamn amazing answers. That's incredible, guys. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's incredible. Let's reset the cameras and we'll get on to the last seg here.
So today we have guess the Rotten Tomatoes rating from a film. So I'm just going to list a film, and there are 2 ratings that they give, which is the critics rating and the audience rating.
Brilliant.
And from that, you can choose. You can guess either both of them or just one of them.
Okay.
God, I'm going to suck at this.
Yeah, mate, let's do this. Thank you, Indy.
No worries.
Let's go.
First up, we've got Toy Story.
Oh, okay. Do we want to go? We'll do critic rating, and then for the next movie, audience rating, and then for the next one, critics rating. So we'll go back and forth. All right. So we'll go for the critics one for Toy Story. It's out of 100. What do you think? I'll play as well, and we'll keep points, and we'll do. I reckon we'll do about five or six of them, and the winner takes all. Bragging rights.
Okay. So you're going to play? You're going to
I'll
give us
play.
a number? Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what Indy's prepared, so
This is interesting.
Okay. Ooh.
critics. Toy Story for critics. I don't know. It's a bit of an old one, but I think is pretty well regarded, right? It's definitely the best one out of all the Toy Stories, I would say.
I agree.
Oh, but I did do like
Number 4 was actually
4 was amazing.
yeah.
Actually,
Is this the
gave
one with the
4 pretty
fire,
high.
the melting?
That's 3.
I love that one.
Yeah, see, I didn't
That was
really like number 3. I liked 1, I liked 2, and I liked 4. I think 4 I liked the best. They're making number 5 at the moment, but
yeah, that's right.
yeah, I'm gonna lock in. I reckon 90%.
Ooh.
What are you?
I'm going to say 91 because I was
91?
going to go 90, but I'm
I
going
think
to
they're
91.
really low. I think you've lowballed them. I was thinking 97.
Really?
Oh, okay. Ooh,
Okay.
okay. All right.
Indy?
It was 100.
Oh! Wow, Martin, that's 1 point to
All right,
you.
okay.
Wow, I'm
okay,
going to be
game
really
on,
bad at this game.
That was Toy Story. God, we loved it.
All right, next one. So audience rating.
Okay.
Ooh, this one.
This is just a film that came up. I doubt anyone has seen it here. I have not. It's called Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2.
I have not heard of it.
Baby.
I've never
I haven't
Super Babies.
heard of it.
Is this like superheroes but baby forms?
Probably.
Okay.
I have a feeling the audience score for this is a solid 7 out of 100.
Okay.
It's just something about, I have a feeling you've gone to lowest rated audience or something like that. I don't know.
That's interesting.
You know
All
what?
right,
For that
okay.
case, I'm going to go 3. I'm changing it. Lock in 3%.
I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever seen a Rotten Tomatoes score that low.
This is
Yeah, me
audience as well.
too.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go 25.
Okay. Karina?
I'm going to go 16.
Okay. What is it?
25.
Yo, wait, was that spot on?
Oh my God.
Was that spot on?
Yes.
You should
Okay, you get
double
2 points
points.
for that.
I agree,
Yeah,
I agree.
3 for that.
God, slay.
Martin!
Slaying
What
this.
is happening?
Nice. Good stuff. Alrighty. So now critics.
Gosh. Okay. Pressure on.
All right.
No, I'm going to crumble after this.
No,
There's only one
come
way to
on,
go.
It's not fluke anymore. You've done it.
Next, we've got The Batman.
Ooh.
Ooh, Robert Pattinson.
Which one's that one?
I think.
Oh,
Okay,
this
yeah.
one, yes.
I'm gonna look in 84.
Is this critics?
Yes,
Oh fuck.
critics. You've said you've looked it
Yeah,
up.
I'm looking 84.
I
Sorry.
think that's good. I think
Alright,
it's
yeah,
close.
yeah,
I think you're
not
pretty close
wrong.
there.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna go lower than that. I'm gonna go 81.
Oh, you would. All right, Karina.
Far out. Okay, I'm gonna go 77.
Okay.
We're pretty close to each other.
Yeah, we are.
85.
All righty. I'm on the
I
comeback,
am not
Martin.
gonna
Watch
come
out. Let's
I'm
do
not gonna
this.
lift my game.
All right, cool.
gosh, I've
got
So
nothing.
1 3
I'm gonna throw the board if I
0.
don't
Karina,
win.
come
Zero.
on.
All right. Okay.
Spider-Man 2002.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Which is that one?
Is that
That's
one?
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey
Oh,
Maguire.
ooh.
2002. So this is number 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
He got slayed in there.
So this is audience, but
Audience.
Toby Maguire.
Yeah, that dance move.
That was number
dancing?
3 though. That was in Spider-Man
Okay,
3.
right.
That's what he got slated for. Number 1, they love.
What
Oh,
dance?
okay.
Audience.
The
You know
dance where
the
he's strutting his
yeah,
stuff
it's like
because he's like.
You don't know?
feeling
He's
it.
been bitten by venom.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
alright,
yeah.
okay.
Bitten or taken. I
But
don't
he
know,
did a
one of
good
the
job.
two.
He just did it too good and
Yeah,
everyone thinks
yeah,
he looked like
yeah.
a dick, but he meant to look like a dick.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's
go
true.
off.
All right, number 1 audience. I'm gonna say 94. 94 audience because they love that movie. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a big one.
You go.
No, I'm gonna learn from you.
I'm gonna go 87.
Okay.
What was your number? 94.
Oh, don't worry. What was your number?
Because I'm gonna
Nah,
say
94.
90 something. 90, 92.
Okay.
67.
What? Ooh, really?
Yeah.
So I believe I got a point.
Yeah, whatever.
Come
You're
on.
running away with it, mate.
Jeez Louise.
4-1-0.
Okay, I'm out.
Okay, yeah.
As my son says.
It's all right. We'll have 5 more, I reckon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So this one was actually mentioned on the last podcast
okay.
by the one and only Jared.
Oh.
Hook.
Ooh, I love
All-time actually favorite movie. Okay, no.
That's
very
Jared's
close.
favorite movie.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, same. I was like, actually, I've seen
Yeah.
it. I can quote it. Of course
Crazy.
not.
Quote it. Give us
All
a
right.
quote.
This
Oh
is
my
the
gosh.
critics score as well.
Critic
score.
Oh, critics. Okay.
Oh, he said it, didn't he?
I think so.
Okay, you guys go first.
This is critics.
Critics.
Critics. 93.
I just love it. 97.
Yeah, 36.
29.
Yeah.
Oh!
No, is that why Jared was talking about it? 'Cause
Yeah.
oh, Jared, I'm with you. That's crazy.
What's the audience score for that one?
I loved that.
That was
79.
such a good
79
film.
audience score. Okay.
Oh my goodness, Hook is so good.
Yeah.
Talking about magic and
I
Yeah.
loved it.
Okay.
Williams,
4-2-0. 420. Let's go. What's the next one?
Godzilla 1998.
And this is
OG.
audience?
Is that
This
with
is audience.
Australian Naomi Watts? Is that with Naomi Watts?
Is that King Kong?
That's King Kong's.
Yeah.
King Kong.
Oh, I don't know, actually.
Godzilla.
I don't know. 1998. It would have
I saw
been
it
like a
at the movie.
Japanese movie, maybe? No.
I think this was the American one.
American. Godzilla, 1998.
Have you seen it? Can we have a
Audience
clue?
I haven't
score.
seen it.
Audience. Man, I'm going to take a shot in the dark here. 76.
I'm going to go 65.
Jesus. I'm going to get 80.
Oh, okay.
28.
Oh!
Was that you again?
I got 65.
Oh,
I got the lowest.
Gosh.
Wow, so 5. 5-2-0. Okay.
Oh.
Alrighty. Let's go next one.
Next up, we've got The Ring 2.
Ooh.
So
And critics?
Critics.
Okay.
Okay.
scary. We're all like,
I did not like The Ring too.
I saw the Ring one. Never again.
37.
So scary.
37.
50.
Crane, you haven't got
Doesn't
one.
matter. 17.
21.
Oh, you got a point.
Okay,
Nice.
yes, thank you.
All right,
Okay.
5-2-1. We have
Okay.
2 more. We'll do 2 more, and last one will be a lot of points. I'll joke. All right, what's the next one?
Barbie.
Oh, an audience?
Audience.
I think. Yep, 90.
98.
89.
83.
Okay.
Did it
2
again.
points.
All righty, so
Yowza.
5-2-2. Wow. All right, so is this the last one? We'll make this one worth 3 points. So that means we have a face-off.
God.
Okay.
Unless you get this one.
I'm going to get this
All
one.
right, let's go.
I want this one.
Home Alone 2.
Audience?
Audience.
Oh, I might do.
46.
46.
In New York, of course.
40, of course.
Of course.
All right,
No, this is
46.
critics.
Critics?
Oh, this
Oh,
is
critics.
critics.
Oh, in that
Yeah,
case, 46. I'm going to stick with that. Yeah.
30.
65.
35.
Damn it. Even when I tried to cheat, you ran away with it.
Alright.
Fantastic. Alrighty. Well, I think that's where we leave it. Thanks so much, Indy, for that
Thanks,
amazing
Indy.
segment. That's where we leave. We're going to tie a little bow on this episode. You guys want to catch us? It's the pre-production meeting, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, and the pre-prod pod on Instagram, TikTok. Thank you guys for coming on today. We hope you had a good
Thanks,
time.
Josh. Thank you, Indy.
And keep an eye out for these amazing, amazing actor and actress. They're going to do amazing in this industry. And yeah, see you guys next week. Peace out.